Hey guys, welcome to my newest video for today, December 28th. Sorry I didn't do my usual happy Christmas. Since when did I become British? Merry Christmas video. I was just so busy and had to help Mom with a lot of stuff. And plus, instead of just my grandma and my Uncle Jimmy coming over, they still came over, but so did my Uncle Donnie, Aunt Terry, and my cousin Tegan, so we had more people than expected, so I didn't even watch my Doctor Who special till last night. So I hope you all had a good Christmas. As you can tell, I had a Doctor Who Christmas. um, this is the continuation of my DVD Blu-ray book update, showing off everything I got in August and September. September doesn't have a lot, because that's when my EI really ran out and had to wait for insurance place to start paying me. So I will just get started. The books are limited. I picked up the new watch, the book 5 of this awesome series by this guy, a Russian author with Night Watch, Day Watch, and all that. I'm only a little bit into it. I have to finish it before the new year. Next one I picked up Robo Apocalypse, because I know this is getting made into a movie, and I think Spielberg is directing it. I hope he does a damn good job, because I did not like this book. I tried reading its sequel, and I found both so boring. So this will go into the send to the library thing. And these two I remember where I picked up, because we went to Edmonton for holidays, like the West Edmonton Mall, and these two I bought out there. I got Doctor Who book, Tales of Trenzalore. This happened before the 11th Doctor regenerated, so it was a good book. And this one I had to have, though my mom thought I was nuts. It's the official quotable Doctor Who, Wise Words from Across Time and Space. Has all the different quotes from all the different episodes, and my favorite is from the 4th Doctor, from his first episode, Robot, where Sarah Jane Smith goes, "Doctor, you're being childish," and the 4th Doctor goes, "Of course I am. There's no point in being grown up if you can't be childish sometimes." And I'm like, yep, I love that quote. So there's all the books. So now we go on to the DVDs and Blu-rays. So I had this one on Blu-ray, but mine only had a trailer, and I was so mad that I missed out on this, but the release that came out here. But I got this from Zavi.com, and it is, of course, the steelbook for the Evil Dead. I love that design, and I love the special features on here. I think it's just so awesome. Better there? No, I like it over here. So there we go, the Sam Raimi's Evil Dead. And I picked up Survival of the Dead, so now I have all the George Romero zombie movies on Blu-ray. I like that with the lenticular cover. Haven't watched that yet. Haven't watched this yet, but I plan to, because I read the book, the 3 books, and I think they're fantastic, and I got Divergence. So I haven't watched this yet, so hopefully before the year's out. The latest, not the latest, this is back in August. The Scream Shout Factory Blu-ray release of Ginger Snaps. Like, I don't like that cover, so I have that one. Love this movie. Canadian. It's a great werewolf movie. And I think everybody knows why I picked up this, called Not Forgotten, Simon Baker. And then, I haven't watched this yet, but I realized the girl who plays his daughter is Chloe Moretz, I think that's how who was Carrie, who was in Kick-Ass and Let the Right One In. So this looks actually, there's a good scene in it that just reminds me of a really good horror film. So I'm not going to say what scene it is, but I gotta check this out really soon. Okay, this is not my forte, but the actor is, and it looks like I've watched part of it, and it just looks so much fun, and it's called Sex and Death 101, written by the guy who wrote Heathers, because there's Winona Ryder. This is funny from what I've watched. It is funny as shit. And I showed somebody this, that I have this, like, how can you watch that? Dude, I'm not a prude. This shit doesn't bother me, but it is so funny. So, I think, to Justin and Doug, I think you guys like comedies. I think you guys would enjoy this one. It is so funny. So out there and so funny. And still on Simon Baker, I picked up The Lodger, which is a horror film, where he plays a serial killer. Kind of like on the lines of Jack the Ripper. I think this is a remake of a 1927 Hitchcock film. But it was good. You got a lot of great actors in this. Like, where is he? I've never been able to say his name, but he's in Spider-Man 2 and Raiders of the Lost Ark. And yeah, Shane West, who I haven't really seen anything in anything really since League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. But yeah, I enjoyed this. I watched this on my 31 Days of Horror. It wasn't gory, but it was suspenseful. Okay, next pile. Now, almost all these that I'm going to show up until a point, I bought at the HMV in the West Edmonton Mall, because we have to pay GST and PST here, and they don't have to pay PST, so I got The Amazing Spider-Man 2, still haven't watched this yet, and I still haven't watched the first one. Got Blood the Last Vampire, which I watched on my 31 Days of Horror, and it was actually quite enjoyable. I know this is based on an anime series, but I enjoyed the hell out of this. Childhood favorite, Clue. It's childhood, can't go wrong. And Dark Skies, one I'm definitely looking forward to. In the trailers, it was kind of but some of the reviews I've seen on YouTube have been really good. Picked up Dead Space Aftermath. I prefer Downfall. I just got into these because on WatchMojo.com, here on YouTube, top 10 best horror video games, and Dead Space was one of them, and they mentioned that it takes heavy inspiration from Event Horizon, so I figured, I love Event Horizon, so check this out. I'm not big on westerns that come out now, but I like ones from the past, and this is one. This is one that started it all when I was 9, and that is El Dorado. Introduced to both John Wayne and Robert Mitchum at the same time. This started my western, my love of westerns, though. Yeah, I love this. This is one I watch a lot with my dad. My dad's the one who showed it to me. Yeah, not that many westerns nowadays I like. I think the one that I really, really love is Tombstone. Got Galaxy Quest, finally. I've been putting this off for years. I don't know why. I think when they re-release these and they're 10 years old, I shouldn't have to pay almost $25 for them. So, but I enjoyed the hell out of this. Saw it twice in the theater back in '99. And another movie that not a lot of people liked, but my mom and I did, and we both got to see it in the theater, and that's John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars. This is a fun, leave your brain at the door for 99 minutes. It was fun. It was enjoyable. It's John Carpenter. I'm not, And the next two are John Wayne movies. One that I really love called Hatari. Have to pick up all these animals in Africa for zoos and stuff. It's long. It is real. Well, to me it was long when I was a child, but it's enjoyable. You got John Wayne and Red Buttons in the same movie, and directed by Howard Hawks. Actually, El Dorado's directed by Howard Hawks as well. And another one that my dad and I particularly love, and that is McClintock. And you have John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara in the same film. That's enough for anybody to go watch it. Fun western. And I picked up Red Planet. I haven't watched this in years, so I can't really remember too much of it. And then went back to the mall and bought more. 5 for $25, I think. Finally picked up The Edge, which I really enjoyed, but haven't watched it in a very long time. Wes Craven's The Hills Have Eyes, which I hated the first time I watched it, but I watched it again, and it was better. So I watched it with the commentary with Wes Craven and somebody else, and I was like, it's fun. Another western, and probably one of the best The Magnificent Seven, which you can vaguely say is one of the very first American remakes, because this was a remake of The Seven Samurai, and this came out only 6 years after The Seven Samurai, and it's damn good. You got a lot of great actors. You got Yul Brynner, you have Steve McQueen, Charles Bronson, James Gardner, James Coburn, Robert Vaughn. I think Robert Vaughn's the only one who's left alive. And I got Rescue Dawn. Have wanted to check this out for years, but have not gotten around to watching it. One that I loved back in '98 and I got to see in the theater, and that's Small Soldiers. Very fun movie. And got the Blu-ray for Valkyrie. Still haven't watched this yet, but I really want to. And I think this... Oh, crap! Damn you, Blu-rays. This last bit was the ones I bought at the West Edmonton Mall. I picked up The Collector. I've seen this in a lot of horror film overview videos, and its sequel, The Collection. I really hope these are good. Picked up one of my favorite movies from 1997. Some people say it's a suspense thriller. I say it's a horror film, and that is The Devil's Advocate. I fucking love this film. It's my favorite film by Taylor Hackfield. And though Al Pacino is so over the top, it's awesome over the top. Like, who better to play the devil than Al Pacino? I saw this one in the theater back in 2001 twice because it was so enjoyable. And it's also my favorite movie with Heath Ledger. I know people are like, well, what about The Dark Knight? Yeah, The Dark Knight is good, but I mean, seriously. After the first time viewing was awesome, and then subsequent, the next viewings, that sounds better, it diminished a little bit. I was like, well, what's the big deal? What's everybody talking about? So this is still my favorite movie with Heath Ledger, and that is A Knight's Tale. Bitch at me all you want, but this is it. This is the one I love him in. I thought it was fun. It was a little odd when the first time I watched this, because all of a sudden Queen, We Will Rock You came on. I was like, okay, they're in the 13th century. Why are they playing Queen? But that's one of the charms about this, is it has a total rock and roll Queen, David Bowie, Bachman Turner Overdrive soundtrack. It is awesome. And I picked up the Japanese version of The Ring, the original Ringu. I think that's how you pronounce it. But it was not so scary, but it was enjoyable that I watched on my 31 Days of Horror. I picked up Silver Linings Playbook. Not my type of movie, but I love Jennifer Lawrence. She's one of my favorite actresses since seeing her in X-Men First Class. And picked up Turtle Power, the definitive history of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So all my movie documentaries are not horror anymore. This was fun. It's only like 98 minutes, but it's enjoyable. And then I got the original Time Machine, which is one of my all-time favorite science fiction films and favorite movies of all time. Forget the 2002 remake. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. This one, though, the effects may seem for 1960. Well, for us now. I can't talk anymore. But I watched this right after I saw the remake, and the effects in this I thought were about 10 times better than what we had in 2002. They had a certain charm about them. And picked up the steelbook for The Walking Dead Season 4. I still have not checked this series out, but then again, I haven't watched Sons of Anarchy or Game of Thrones. Definite watchers in the new year. And picked up Leviathan, which I've always wanted to see. This came out the year of the underwater films. You had Leviathan, you had Deep Star 6, and The Abyss. The Abyss being the better out of the three. But I enjoyed this. It's got a great cast, and directed by the guy who did Tombstone and Cobra. So yeah, it's a good movie, even though you don't see the monster, but I think that's one of the appeals, is you don't see the monster. So that's all for August, and this is September's pickups. I picked up Brick Mansions. Had to shed a few tears at the end of this. Not because it was a bad movie. It was actually quite enjoyable. But I've been watching Paul Walker since 1999, so this is the American version of a French film called District 13. And the funny thing is this guy David Bell, he's in District 13 and its sequel. But yeah, it's gonna be very hard to watch Fast and Furious 7 next summer. And then I picked up Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Saw this in the theater with my dad. Don't know which one I like more. I think this one edges out the original just a tiny bit, but this was so much fun, and it was great to see Robert Redford on screen again. I haven't watched him on the big screen in years. And romantic comedy called I Give It a Year. Hello. And then I realized the actress in this, Rose Byron, I think her name is. I know her from a couple movies, like the 2 Insidious films and X-Men First Class. Somewhat crude, but I mean, I'm used to that kind of shit. But it's a fun romantic comedy. I think you all knew I was getting this. You all know September 16th, I was getting this movie because it's my favorite. Yes, I've seen The Hobbit. Yes, I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, but this is my favorite because this is my list. And that is Godzilla. Well, hello. Anybody who knows me knows I love this monster. I have for the last 30 years. This was a huge deal for me this summer, because to me they finally got him right. Not that abomination that came out in 1998, but I mean, this came out, I had my accident on April 23rd, and this came out, I get to see it May 15th, and everybody's like, well, maybe you shouldn't go see it, and I said, dude, a fractured skull, a concussion, cracked ocular socket, bad vision, and a fucked up knee weren't stopping me from seeing this, which I got to see in IMAX 3D, and it was awesome. I know people bitched about not enough monster time, but go watch the original film, which is 90 minutes long. He's only on screen for about half an hour, so quit whining. And got one of my favorite movies that is teenager, came out in 95. I saw it twice in the theater. It was so adorable, and that is Casper. I enjoyed this. It was so much fun. Not a big fan of the cartoon, but this just was such a great movie. And got to pick up Firestarter, one of my favorite movies with Drew Barrymore. Great adaptation of a Stephen King novel. No, it doesn't get a lot of love, but it should, because it's a great, great movie. And I got National Treasure 2, Book of Secrets. This was from the Disney Movie Rewards, so didn't have to spend money on it. But yeah, I still have not watched this yet, and it's been out for 7 years. I liked the first one. The first one was fun. And I got Godzilla 2000. Yay! I got to see this in the theater back in 2000, which was so much fun. And the one that makes this different, because it's by itself, the others are like double features. And this is the rare one, with the exception of the box set that I have, that this comes with the original Japanese version and the US version. So, okay, and the last two, I got Transformers Age of Extinction, which I watched, and I enjoyed it. I gave it an 8 out of 10. The only Transformers movie I did not like was Revenge of the Fallen. But this one I really enjoyed. Loved Mark Wahlberg. I thought he was great in this. Same as with like Kelsey Grammer, and what's his name? Stanley Tucci, I think his name is. Loved the score in this one, particularly. I love Linkin Park, but Imagine Dragons seems to work with Transformers, and I totally geeked the fuck out when the Dinobots came on. I was like, ah! Because anybody who knows me, I grew up with Transformers, so Dinobots were a huge thing for me. And last but certainly not least, I picked up the complete 6th season of The Mentalist. So I got these two on the same day, and what really pissed me off is Black Friday. I paid $38 for this brand new. That was the cheapest at Best Buy. Like, Walmart wanted $49 for it. But, went to Target on Black Friday up here in Canada. $10. I was so mad. That's why I waited for Doctor Who to see if the price of the 8th series Blu-ray would go down. It never did. It didn't matter because I got it for Christmas from a friend. I'll show that in my next update. So there we go, The Mentalist Season 6, and that is it. So big haul, particularly in August, since half of those I bought at the West Edmonton Mall. So yeah, the next couple of months are October, November. I'll do those two, and then do December by itself, and that way I can show off what I got for Christmas and what I got for Boxing Day. Just the Blu-rays. I'm not going to show all the other little trinkets this time, because I want to get caught up on these DVD Blu-ray book updates. Okay guys, I'm hoping to do those 2 videos before New Year's, and I will hopefully do a New Year's video. Not doing anything. I'm not really a partier. I think we're just staying home to do movie marathons. Gonna show my dad the first 2 Hobbit movies, and probably watch the 2 Star Trek films, because my old man has not watched Into Darkness yet. There's something seriously wrong there. And he calls himself a Trekkie. He doesn't watch Star Trek Into Darkness. Hello. Okay guys, so enough rambling. I hope you all have a good day, watch a shitload of movies, and of course, as always, rate, comment, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.